What's up, everybody? It's your boy Hail Hydra coming back at you with another video, and today we're ranking all 10 of the Best Picture nominees for the 2023 Oscars. Now, of course, the Oscars are happening either tomorrow night or today when I upload. I'm filming this on March the 11th at nighttime. I don't know if it's going to be uploaded tonight or tomorrow morning. Have to see. I don't know if I'm going to have to do any editing on this. Probably won't. Hope I don't have to, because I don't feel like acquiring another copy of Adobe Premiere. Haven't done that yet on this new laptop that I've had for like a year at this point. But yeah, sorry about that tangent. So today, like I said, we're ranking all 10 of the movies. This was requested by my good friend Colia. He asked me about a month ago. I don't know if he remembers if he asked me about this anymore, but I made a promise, so I'm coming through on it. Took me so long to watch All Quiet on the Western Front. I just kept pushing it off because, I wanted to watch it in a movie theater, but Netflix doesn't really put their stuff in AMC theaters, which is the only chain near me. So, what are you gonna do? Yeah. So, besides that, I saw all of the rest of the nominees besides Elvis in theaters. I also only watched Elvis at home because when it was out back in like June, I didn't think it would become Best Picture nominee, and I don't really care about Elvis, so it's like I didn't want to see the movie, and I didn't watch it until it came out on HBO Max. But now you know what? I'll stop bearing the lead. We'll start talking, because my number 10, of course, is Elvis. Now, this is the only movie out of the 10 that I didn't like. It's the thing. All right, I'll start with the stuff I did like. I liked Austin Butler's performance. I thought he did a really good job playing Elvis. Certainly, I'm not too much of an Elvis expert, but from what I know, it seemed pretty accurate. Certainly got what seemed like the mannerisms correct, but production design also was very strong. It truly did feel like it was taking place during the time Elvis came to be, 50s, 60s. Production design did a good job, with the costumes, the hair, the makeup, the sets, all felt very real, all felt very lived in, and being it is a Baz Luhrmann movie, there was a lot of cool shots, a lot of cool photography, very interesting to look at movie in terms of editing too. But that's also a negative for me because at some points it can be a bit jarring, a bit like disorienting and almost too fast. It almost feels like it's a movie trailer for the 2.5 hours, which very long movie, by the way. 2.5 hours. You can certainly feel the length. Not a fan of that. It just dragged, and it felt like it sped through some really important parts, which didn't give enough backstory, didn't give enough time to these parts, which is absurd when it's a 2.5 hour movie. I guess Elvis, famous guy, had a lot to touch on, and not a lot of time. So I guess, but it still felt weird to me in that way. And biggest complaint is Tom Hanks. He's just not good in this movie. I'm sorry, but not good. Okay. Now we're moving on to films that I think are fine. They're slightly above average, 6 out of 10s. They're not bad movies at all. They're well made. They're interesting, but yeah. So number 9, we got All Quiet on the Western Front. I certainly understand why people would enjoy this movie a lot. It's very technically proficient. A lot of cool effects. Very interesting camera work. Great score. Visually, it's stunning. I agree with the message. War is bad. I do agree. But I just felt kind of hollow. I mean, it didn't differentiate itself from any other war movies. I felt like it was pretty pretty standard, and it didn't really do anything to separate itself from other war movies. And the stuff that it did do well, I don't think it did it well enough to get past that negative point. But the acting in the movie was good too. I want to shout that out. I watched it in German, obviously, with the subtitles, because if you watch a movie that's in different language and you watch it dubbed with English voice, that's weird. Just watch it with subtitles. Don't watch it with dubbing. That's weird. But yeah, it's a solid like 6 out of 10. I don't think it's a bad movie at all, but I don't think it's a great movie. I think it's simply good. You understand? And then at number 8, got Triangle of Sadness. This movie, I thought first 2/3 were great, and then the last third just kind of dipped off a cliff. It's very well, again, all these movies are very well made. The acting was really good in this movie, especially Dolly De Leon in the last third, but it's really the only strong part about the last third, in my opinion. And then much like All Quiet on the Western Front, it's a very touched upon topic, especially this year. The anti-rich satire had Triangle of Sadness, you had The Menu, you had Glass Onion, you had White Lotus Season 2. And I thought of all 4 of those, Triangle of Sadness was the weakest. I thought that, the message was certainly still there, but I thought the other 3 did a better job at conveying the message, at showing the absurdity of rich people, showing how, not that this movie's absurd as hell with the rich people, because rich people are annoying. And that's certainly something you feel, when, especially on the ship. But I thought the other 3 did a better job of portraying it, and just, and it's not like I was tired of them by the time I saw Triangle of Sadness. I saw Triangle of Sadness before those other 3 came out, so, I had Triangle of Sadness was the first one I experienced, but I still think those other 3 improved upon what Triangle of Sadness did in a much more entertaining, much more fresh, much more authentic feel. This movie kind of feels like anti-rich satire made for rich people to laugh at themselves and not take seriously, which is an interesting choice, but I don't think it works too well. And then next, we're going up to movies I think are great. From 7 onward, I think the movies are great, and I wouldn't be mad if any of these movies won Best Picture. Of course, at number 7, we do have Women Talking. Out of all the nominees, I think this is the second best acted of the movies, and it's the best written of the second best written of the movies too. I think that for such a dialogue-heavy movie, such a speech-heavy movie, it does a really good job at remaining interesting the whole time and riveting. And Sarah Polley in particular, I think she did a great job in making the movie. And then Rooney Mara is who I think was the standout in terms of the actresses. And it's very eye-opening to the struggle that women face in these religious societies, and it did a good job portraying their pain, portraying what they have to experience day to day, and how we in modern society, we don't understand what these women are going through to the extent that they are. Of course, women today still go through the same kind of struggles that these women are going through, but man, it's just, because the men take away they never give the women the ability to learn, to read, to write, it makes it even more tragic. And I thought the movie did a great job at portraying this. And the only thing I didn't like about the movie was kind of bland, ugly visually, which, fits with the theme of the movie, that it's so dark and colorless, but there weren't a lot of interesting shots. Photography wasn't that interesting. But yeah, besides that, I thought the movie was very fascinating. At number 6, we do have everything, everywhere, all at once. And of course, I know this is going to be low for a lot of people's lists. And don't take it as that I dislike the movie. I like the movie a lot. I think it's a great movie, and I'm happy it's going to win it. There's a lot of passion behind it, and I'm happy that people that are this passionate about the movie are going to get to see it win the Oscar. And I think it's great for the industry, great for fans around the world, great for the filmmakers, great for the actors. It's not like last year with Coda where that was just a stupid choice. Like, this is the obvious choice, and it is the movie of the year. I don't think it's the best movie of the year, obviously, but it is the movie. Either this or Top Gun are the movies that define 2022. So yeah, I think this is an appropriate win. I'm very happy it's winning. But very well acted, of course, outside of Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis was not good in this movie. I don't understand why she's going to win the Oscar. She wins the Oscar, I'm going to be mad. It should be any of the other 4 people. I hate that they're going to give it to her for a legacy award. If you're going to give a legacy award, at least give it to Angela Bassett. But I digress. But yeah, outside of that, Michelle Yeoh, fantastic in the movie. One of the best performances of the year. Ki Kwan, great. Of course, Stephanie Hsu, incredible. Visually, very, very fascinating movie. With all the different multiverses, all the quick editing, all the interesting visual effects. I thought it did a really good job with all those. And then, yeah, outside of the Jamie Lee Curtis stuff, the other thing I dislike about the movie is the humor, which I understand a lot of people like it. It just fell flat for me. Not a big, it felt like millennial humor. Obviously, I'm not a millennial, thank God. But, yeah, I just thought some of the jokes were, it would have been funny like 7-8 years ago, but to me at least, but they didn't hit that much. There's a couple of funny bits like Ratatouille, which is funny because it's like Ratatouille, but besides that, I can't really think of any other things that really made me laugh. And which I don't need a movie to make me laugh, but when it's pushing so many things that are clearly intended to make you laugh and they don't make me laugh, obviously I'm gonna dock it for that if it's trying to make me laugh and it's not succeeding. Now, next up at number 5, we got Top Gun Maverick. Of course, the flight scenes, fantastic, riveting. Tom Cruise, coolest man to ever live. Doubt anybody will disagree with that. Shout out Scientology. One of the best theatrical experiences of the year. Probably my 3rd favorite of the year behind Nope and Avatar, which we'll be talking about later. I didn't get to see it in IMAX, unfortunately. I chose to see it in Dolby. I should have saw it in IMAX, but I saw it in Dolby instead. But the speakers were incredible. The butt kickers in the seats were incredible. And it was very entertaining throughout the whole way. People were ragging on it for getting a Best Adapted Screenplay nomination, which I understand if you're just looking at the dialogue, but the way the movie's set up through the screenplay, beat by beat by beat, it's incredible how fast flowing, how great this movie flows and gets from point A to point B. So I do think it deserved that nomination for Best Adapted Screenplay. And yeah, I don't have anything I really dislike about the movie. It sets out to do what it does pretty perfectly, and without too much fail. And this is coming from a guy who dislikes the first movie, the first Top Gun, which I didn't see until 2022 either. Not a good movie, but Top Gun Maverick is legitimately a good movie. At number 4, got Banshees of Inisherin. Best acted movie of the nominees. I think both Carrie Condon and Barry Keoghan should win the Oscars for supporting actress and actor. And then Colin Farrell's my second favorite of the Best Actor nominees behind Paul Mescal. And it's a very compelling, very interesting plot about how two friends kind of stop being friends one day And I know that this is going to sound crazy, but it really reminded me of the SpongeBob episode from season 1, Naughty Nautical Neighbors. For you guys that don't remember, that's the episode where Squidward gets SpongeBob and Patrick to stop being friends for no reason. And it's kind of what happens in this movie, although there's not a third party like Squidward driving the friends apart. But, these two friends, goofy lovable goofball and a kind of hard-assed artist just stop being friends one day, and it is a very, very touching movie. Very sad, of course. Very funny. Probably the funniest of all these nominees, outside of maybe Tar. And yeah, very well written. Very beautiful looking movie. Obviously set in 1920s Ireland, so there's a lot of water, a lot of island shots that are great to look at. And yeah, I really thought at the beginning this was going to be the movie to win the Best Picture Oscar until the dominance of Everything Everywhere All at Once started. But, happy that it's doing so well. I hope that it gets at least one award tomorrow night. I hope that Everything Everywhere doesn't take every single award from it, but we'll see. Hopefully wins some stuff. And then number 3, we got Steven Spielberg's The Fablemans. Now, Fablemans and Banshees of Inisherin I really wrestle between. If you were to ask me tomorrow, I might swap them, have Fablemans at 4, Banshees at 3. They're neck and neck for me, basically. Fablemans, it's incredible movie, visually, emotionally, acting wise, incredible score, of course, from John Williams. It's just such a fascinating look at Steven Spielberg's life and how he grew up as a child. And I think the thing that really elevates it for me is just how much it puts into perspective his other movies, especially like movies dealing with parents with divorces, or struggles, like Close Encounters, Catch Me If You Can, E.T. It really puts those movies in perspective and shines a new light on them. I think it does a really good job at exploring Spielberg's life and how it influenced him and his filmmaking. And I think everybody should give it a shot, because a lot of people have the notion that it's just Hollywood patting itself on the back. It's just, great time at the movies. We're Hollywood, we make movies kind of movie. And it's not. It's a deep personal look into his life and how messed up his life was growing up. And it's not happy-go-lucky all the time. It's not. It's really fascinating. I would recommend watching it if you haven't had the chance. And that brings us to number 2, Todd Fields Tar, which of course, starring Cate Blanchett. She gives one of the best acting performances I've seen in a long, long time, maybe ever. Just for the whole 2.5 hours, she's on fire, giving fantastic performance. It's got the best script of the year. It's got one of the best scenes of the year with the Juilliard scene. It's beautifully shot. It definitely deserved that cinematography nomination. I think it should win personally out of the 5 nominees, but I don't think it will. Got probably the best ending scene to a movie this year. Not going to spoil it, obviously, but it makes the whole movie worth it. And yeah, it's a really stunning movie. Really. I rewatched it on Thursday. Originally I had it below Banshees and Fablemans, but with this rewatch, it bumped it up to like a 5-star movie for me. Made me realize just how meticulously crafted it is, just how incredible it is. I think one of the best movies of the year, certainly number 2 of my Best Picture nominees. And then before we get to number 1, just want to give a shout out to 3 movies that should have been nominated for Best Picture. I want to shout out After Sun, of course, starring Paul Mescal. He gave he's the best male lead actor of the year, in my opinion. Very touching movie. Most I've cried at a movie in a long time. There's a bunch of brutal scenes in there, especially at the end. Not going to spoil it, of course, but make sure you have tissues nearby because you're going to cry your eyes out. Nope. Second best theatrical experience of the year. Best sounding movie of the year. Probably the best shot movie of the year visually. Stunning to look at. Seeing it in IMAX was breathtaking. Seeing all the open shots when the aliens are attacking, and yeah, it's a fascinating look at the role spectacle plays in society and how we treat our relation to spectacle, and how it forms, how spectacle forms our beliefs. And yeah, really recommend it. My second favorite movie of the year. And then, of course, last but not least, Ambulance, which should have had all the critical and financial success that Top Gun Maverick had. Michael Bay's the GOAT. Will not be taking questions at this time. And then number one, we got, of course, Big Jim's Avatar: The Way of Water. Best theatrical experience I've ever had. Saw it on IMAX. Saw it in Dual Laser IMAX 3D release day with my friend Mike. Incredible experience. Best experience I've ever had in a movie theater. And of course, Avatar, it's such a theatrically bound experience. You're not going to get the same experience you have at home. If you didn't see this movie in IMAX 3D or Dolby 3D, you didn't see the movie. And I don't know what's wrong with you. Why you'd go see it in 2D. Come on. It's Avatar. Watch it in IMAX 3D or Dolby 3D. Shout out Big Jim. It's the best blockbuster we've gotten past 25 years, since Titanic at the very least. I don't think it's as good as Titanic, but it's up there. It's better than the Lord of the Rings movies, better than the MCU movies, better than The Dark Knight, better than Mad Max Fury Road, better than Dune. All these movies, of course, great. Well, not MCU's not great, not all of them, of course. But yeah, all these movies are great. But yeah, none of them can hold a candle to Avatar: The Way of Water. Technically, it's the most impressive movie of all time. CGI is incredible. Visually, it's incredible. Sound, scope, incredible. 3D obviously is mind-blowing. Pandora is the best example I've ever seen in movies for building a world. It's better than Star Wars, and I think at this point it's better at building its world than Star Wars, which is a crazy thing to say, but the world of Pandora is fantastic. And the moment the Tulkun hunt starts onwards is the most exciting film in ages. It's wall-to-wall action, and the action is best I've seen in a long time too. You compare the action of this movie to something like Avengers Endgame. I'll use that as the example because it's another one of the highest grossing movies ever. The action in Avatar, it's the way it's shot is beautiful visually. The sound really enhances the movie. You can feel the weight of the punches and the kicks and the gunshots. You can feel the way those hit, and it feels like there's weight to them. Whereas with something like Endgame, the punches are very floaty. The characters are not, there's no weight to their punches, and then of course the visual aspect of the fight is incredible too. It's so, even when it's dark, because the film takes place, or the action set piece takes place during the eclipse, so it's dark out. The way the dim lights of the boat reflect off the skin of the Na'vi, the way the underwater scenes look. It's dark, but it's not ugly, whereas with Avengers Endgame, it's so ugly, so muddy, so brown. And yeah, so seeing Avatar really puts into perspective how much more Jim Cameron and his team care about the quality of their movies versus other blockbusters. Even the ones with lots of care put into them, like Dune and Mission Impossible and even Top Gun. It's like, yeah, they're stunning movies too. Great to look at. The action's very well choreographed. But even Avatar is on another level for them, and I don't think it's even close. And yeah, I think just the way this movie takes place, or the way this movie unfolds, it's 3 hours and 15 minutes long. It doesn't feel it at all. It's so quick, such a great world to just live in for 3 hours. You never feel like you want to leave the movie. And, that's something that not a lot of 3-hour movies can say. Hell, even some, there's 90-minute movies that feel like a slog compared to Avatar. And, yeah, so I just think it's easily the best movie of the year. Easily the best of the Best Picture nominees. And, yeah, I want to thank you guys for tuning into today's video. I know that Coley is probably the only person that actually watched. So thank you, Colia. Sorry that I disrespected All Quiet on the Western Front, but I'm sure you'll understand after my reasoning. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.